Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Rebecca Sweet here. So we are giving you a glimpse as to what we're going to be seeing in the tropics. Now, the latest update that we have from the National Hurricane Center came out at 5 o'clock this morning. The next update is going to be coming out at 11 o'clock this morning. From this time frame until 11 o'clock, I do not foresee just yet that we will see enough strengthening to see our next named storm, but I do expect it by maybe tonight or even into tomorrow morning. We will be looking at what will likely be Imelda. So let me show you our future cast. Let me pause this first and foremost and kind of take this nice and slow. So here's a look at your tropical future cast. We have a couple different systems that we're going to be watching. So we have Hurricane Humberto, which is on the right, and then we have what is at this moment Tropical Depression number 9, but it is forecast to become Imelda. Now, as we put this into motion, watch the path. We see what will likely become Imelda just continuing to churn over the Bahamas. So it's getting the interference from this landmass, really not allowing it to strengthen as quickly as what you may think. But once it enters into these warm waters off of the coastline of Florida and into Georgia and into Carolinas, I mean, that's like fuel for this storm. So I am expecting by Tuesday that we will likely have 2 hurricanes within just a short distance from each other. You have Hurricane Humberto again on the right, which is going to be going right by the Bermuda area. And then you also have what at this point will likely be Hurricane Imelda. But there is some great news, folks, because we are going to be seeing some really good benefits from Hurricane Humberto, because Hurricane Humberto, as of last night, was a Category 5, a beast of a storm. The strength that we have from Hurricane Humberto may be strong enough, and that's what we're seeing with these models, to kind of absorb some of this energy that we have from what will likely be Hurricane Imelda as we get closer to the middle part of the week and steer it back out into the Atlantic. It's really cool to watch both of these storms kind of work together. Unfortunately, this may not mean the best news for the Bermuda area because they're going to be inundated with one system, again, Humberto moving through the area, and then we could see some more of that moisture from what will likely be the remnants from Imelda continuing to slide into the region. So again, let me kind of break this down for you, showing you right over here. So this will be Hurricane Humberto. This is what's actually going to be saving us a little bit when it comes to some of our impacts that we could have across East Tennessee. Then we look at Imelda. This is not a named storm just yet. We'll see if it gets named later on today, but it does look like chances more so kind of leaning towards tonight because it does have to push over the islands down here, the Bahama Islands, continuing to try and strengthen as it makes its way into the warm water. Rain showers still going to be a part of our forecast here across East Tennessee, so I expect to see some spotty showers Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's certainly not the same kind of moisture that models were showing as of late last week. And we can thank, again, Hurricane Humberto for helping us out with that. So let's get the latest track as to what we're seeing with Hurricane Humberto. So here's Hurricane Humberto. It's a Category 4 hurricane as of this morning, so still just a beast of a storm. It is forecast to stay a Category 4 hurricane as it kind of slides up the coastline of the United States. This still will mean some concerns for those of you who are planning to travel for fall break. If you're planning to go to the beach, you want to make sure that you're listening to local authorities because there is still the potential of seeing some larger waves, the potential for some rip currents, still seeing the chance for some showers and thunderstorms, with a lot of this energy not too far off the coastline of the United States. And then Bermuda, yeah, likely going to be inundated with very gusty winds as well as some heavy rain from what is forecast to be potentially a major hurricane just to the west. Now we want to get to Tropical Depression 9. So this is forecast to become Imelda, so potentially Hurricane Imelda, as it does slide its way to the north. It's going to be right off of the coastline of Florida. So if you are traveling again to Florida for fall break, especially if you're on the eastern side of the state, you're still going to run into some issues with, again, tropical storm force winds, perhaps some rip currents, some large waves. That'll be a concern. Make sure you're listening to local meteorologists and local authorities when it comes to how safe the water is going to be. But remember, I talked about this system just getting sucked away from the United States. And with that, we can thank Hurricane Humberto, which is pulling some of this energy. We can also thank what is going to be an area of low pressure over here, almost pushing it away from us. So we have two different forces of nature kind of playing tug of war. And at this moment, it looks like Hurricane Humberto is going to be winning. This low pressure system is not going to be strong enough to bring in some of that moisture, although we'll still get some moisture from this system. It definitely does not look to be as intense and impactful as what models were showing as of late last week. So this is the best case scenario. As of right now, we do not have this as a named storm. Again, it is Tropical Depression 9. Another update is going to be coming out at 11 o'clock this morning. We'll see if we can get enough strength within this storm for it to be named, but right now it is forecast to bring in some pretty heavy rain across the coastline of Florida, moving up into the back out into the Atlantic. So a couple different systems that are going to be at play here. When we look ahead to some of the rainfall forecasts, so this is kind of really focusing our attention on the coastline of the Carolinas, going into North Carolina, South Carolina. If you are traveling to Charleston, or if you're traveling north of Charleston, this is where we expect to see some of the heaviest rain impacts. Wilmington, Bald Head Island do have the potential for some spots to see close to 3 to 4 inches. Think to some of the rain that we had yesterday. Remember when we had flash flood warnings out into parts of Sevier County? That was because we had over 3 inches of rain. So some coastal erosion could be issues with this. Some minor flooding could be issues with this. But truly the situation at hand looks to be far less impactful than what could have been at play. So again, rainfall totals for most of us look to be relatively light. And you notice here across East Tennessee, I've actually dropped our rain chances quite a bit. I had originally a little bit of what was going to be a much wetter week here locally. Now it's kind of looking like we could see about maybe a half of an inch or less, primarily across the higher elevations. Again, no major complaints. We had some beautiful solid rain yesterday, but it would be nice to see maybe just a few more spotty showers this week. Let me show you our local model. So this is going to be the model going throughout the rest of the day today, into your Monday and into your Tuesday. You notice some spotty showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. Those are the two kind of days that I'm like, okay, you might want to have your rain gear on standby, but it's more so going to be, again, across the coastline that we're going to be seeing the greatest impacts from this system. So here's a glimpse of our long range models. If you were watching this late last week, I mean, it was showing what was likely going to be a super wet week here across East Tennessee. And that has changed. And we can thank again the path of what will be Hurricane Imelda sliding back out into the Atlantic. Now keep in mind, folks, I want to remind you, things can still change. This forecast can still change. It's not even a named storm yet, so there still is a lot of uncertainty between now and as we go into the early part of this next week. But the model trends that we've been seeing from the National Hurricane Center are looking very positive. And this is a trend that we have been watching now for days. Really since about Saturday. Well, I guess I should say since yesterday. But it is certainly nice to see this trend kind of carrying on yesterday and with the most recent updates that we've had throughout the day and then going into this morning. You notice rain chances possible throughout the middle part of the week, especially Tuesday into Wednesday. Thursday will kind of start to dry out just a little bit, and then the next weekend looks great. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll continue to provide more updates as to what's happening in the tropics, and we're going to have another update live on TV coming up at 9. Thank you.